Give us more details about your white label clients and also about your cooperation with Citibank.
Well, Citibank is one example of a white label client, and perhaps one of the biggest names that we have, which is why it gets some interest. But actually we do this for many organizations around the world, probably around 100 other financial institutions that take our platform, modify it to reflect their own identity, obviously with name, with language, with colors, with putting their own research into the platform, etc. So it actually comes across as their own platform. We supply the infrastructure, we supply the liquidity in the platform, and obviously running all the technology. So it's a big shortcut for somebody that wants to offer the types of services that we have. For us, it's a very big advantage to cooperate with these partners because in many countries, of course, we don't have offices, we don't have a presence, and it can be a very big advantage for us to have people that truly understand the local culture, that of course speaks the local language, out there helping us promoting a joint product. So I think it's very much a win-win situation. We can put people inside a matter of months or even weeks. We can put them with a cutting-edge platform to their market where they know that it's tried and tested and has been working for many other partners. And for us, we can get out to investors around the world that would be very difficult for us to reach directly as Saxo Bank. And today we have partners in round about 45-50 countries around the world, and you can say for us they are often an alternative or supplement to having our own office, and this is really important for us. We have built a lot of functionality around the partnership, so it's not just giving people a piece of technology, it's also helping them with our experiences of what has worked in marketing, in sales, in handling of the whole process. So we try to support over the full value chain, not just like a technology vendor just delivering a piece of software. So it's really a close cooperation around a business case that we both believe in. Citibank is a very good example. Clearly a brand of that stature will always have a better chance of getting a lot of clients and doing a lot of business in the US, probably a much bigger chance than Saxo Bank itself. So that's a very good example of something where we can come in and help them with something that would take them years to develop themselves and may not ever be their focus because it's a niche area. On the other hand, we benefit from working with somebody that has a very good penetration into local markets. So that's really what the white label is about, a win-win situation for the partner that can come out with products that otherwise may be more complicated to support, and for us to reach investors that would be much more difficult for us to reach directly.
Mr. Fournet, I'd like to specify our conversation, and I'd like to know more about your Saxo Bank platform that helps your investors and clients to make all their business movements.
Well, again, I think it goes very closely with the business model where we see ourselves as a facilitator. And what that means really is that we work together with the likes of Citibanks, but the biggest banks in the world, sometimes direct connections to exchanges, but in reality what we get there is liquidity in the markets and various products, because we cannot deliver all products and be the best in all areas. We know that that's not possible for anyone, not even for a big bank. So what we've done is that we have electronically developed interfaces into the biggest banks of the world and exchanges, etc. We then package all of that with technology. We do IT hosting, we do IT development, risk management, back office, we deliver content, education, all sorts of things. So in essence, we can provide a Saxo Trader platform to our own direct clients, or to the likes of Citi or other white labeling clients. What we aim to do with the Saxo Trader platform is to deliver the sharpest and most efficient possible tool for any saver, investor and trader to access global capital markets. And that's a new thing. I mean, it's a pretty logical thing that you would need such a tool if you want to trade the markets. But historically it hasn't really been possible because you had this famous phone line to the bank, and the bank may or may not trade various markets. What we've done with the saxo trader and what we continue to try to expand on the saxo trader is the ability for any investor, no matter where the person sits in the world, to access pretty much all global markets, and then have an enormous amount of support tools to analyze, to risk manage, to communicate with other investors, to receive education, and then obviously again to have transparent, efficient pricing on the platform. So that's really our objective. We believe that more and more people want to be empowered themselves to make their own decisions. We have seen many investors on a global level relying on their financial advisor, on their bank. And I think after the financial crisis, people are feeling, well, maybe that was not always the best choice. Which in our mind means that more and more people want to make their own decisions. They want to educate themselves. They want to have direct access into the markets that they want to trade. And we believe that for many people is the right choice, and we would like to support that trend. And the trend, we believe, is very strong. I think we are entirely more or less built on that strategy in Saxo Bank. And I think the development we've had for the past many years kind of indicates that trend is strong. We believe that the financial crisis is probably going to make it even stronger.
Mr. Christensen, as I've seen in your CV, you've chosen a lot of times to speak politically in your country. Why? Do you think that business is similar with politics?
No, politics is just a bad habit, I think, for me here. But it's also hard to combine because, of course, there are tensions that appear if you're both involved in business and in politics. I also like to underline, I'm not actively involved in politics in that I run for office or for parliament or anything like that, but I am a very active member of a smaller party in Denmark, a very liberal party that promotes a low tax, public sector reform, personal freedom agenda, and this is quite unusual in our country, where there has been for decades a sort of middle-of-the-road consensus around social democratic principles. Most of the parties are really not that different, but I believe, and many other business people believe, Kim included, also takes an interest in these things. I believe that the time has come to reform also a social welfare state like Denmark. We will not be able to continuously compete internationally if we do not have a more competitive tax rates, if we do not use our public sector money more efficiently and more intelligently. And also we have to be careful to respect personal freedom, that not least in times of crisis and terrorism, a lot of things happen that threatens individual personal freedom. There are some overlaps in that. I think we sat down a couple of years ago when this party didn't exist, and we said we need a party like that, and I think we had a little bit more of a project mind. We said what do we need to fill this gap in Danish politics, and I like to think that the handful of people that took a lot of interest in it actually to some extent did execute it a little bit like a business project, and we're happy to see that it also seems to work in politics.
So let's come to Greece, and I'd like to know how important is our country for your business plans?
It's becoming more and more important every year because we are growing our business here quite nicely. And again, I discussed the platform and the business model, and we're seeing nice growth, all over the world. So in that sense, we don't think that Greece is different. Clearly, I think you can say that Greece is probably a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of having a more profound financial crisis. I think what that means to us is that people will be more focused on efficiency and transparency, and we believe that for us there's a big market in Greece, like there's in many other areas. So clearly we continue to focus on Greece. We have been here for a year now. The business is developing very nicely. We continue to get clients, and we do a lot of seminars to educate them on the platform and the markets and so forth. So we will continue to do that.
You have a great international experience, so it's very important for us to have your point of view about our economic problem. Are you predict many difficulties for the Greek economy, or you are more optimistic?
Well, I think something is happening now in Greece. I mean, people are very aware now that there is a crisis. In Denmark, where we come from, we keep doing the wrong things, not doing anything about it. So maybe we will follow the track of Greece. Unfortunately, we don't seem to do a lot about it in time. And sometimes, you need a burning platform to make changes. Right now, there are lots of changes in Greece, and I know it's not at all fun for the Greek people to see that kind of change. But I think it's a result of also the world we live in, of globalization, and I also think the fact that you don't have tradition for everyone paying their taxes in this country, and that can be difficult if you also have a hungry, expensive public sector. I think what all countries should be a little bit careful about now is that in the need to gather tax revenues for the state, a lot of punishment is going on, punishing the right kind of attitude. People actually paying their taxes now get increased taxes, right? It would be better maybe for the people that don't pay taxes at all, that they start paying some taxes. For companies that are doing well, they also say, well, now they have to pay even more, which is not necessarily the thing that will allow you to get more companies and more productive people. We see that in Denmark as well, and we have people moving out of the country, companies moving out of the country because of growing tax rates and so forth. So I think it's a balance that is difficult. And I think exactly as you do in a company, now you discuss company measures versus political measures, and I think if you want something to happen, you should not punish it. I mean, then you have to basically support people making the right decisions. And
do you think that we here in Greece we are taking the right decisions right now?
I mean, clearly you have to spend less money. That goes without saying, right? And that's never funny when you have to
put it about the state, of course.
Yeah, and then I think the unfortunate part is that the normal thing for any government to do is to raise taxes. And I mean, you still have relatively low taxes here compared to other places, but that could also be a big advantage. You just have to make sure everyone pays their taxes, right? So I think that there are some dangers here, and clearly the social unrest risk is big, and I mean you have seen troubles not far from here in that respect, and I think you have to make sure things are happening. At the same time, making sure they happen is also causing trouble, right? So I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I just think you have to move on and doing the right things, but without punishing the right kind of attitude.